Welcome back to Legends and Lore. Before Thor wielded Mjolnir, before Loki plotted his betrayals, and long before the threat of Ragnarok loomed over the horizon, there was peace. But in Norse mythology, peace is never meant to last. We often think of the Norse gods as one big, happy, dysfunctional family living in Asgard. But originally, they weren't one family at all. There were two distinct tribes of deities. You had the Aesir, led by Odin, the All-Father. These were the gods of order, warfare, sky, and civilization. They lived behind the high walls of Asgard, obsessed with hierarchy and strength. And then you had the Vanir. They dwelt in Vanaheim. They were older, earthier beings, gods of fertility, nature, deep sorcery, and wealth. While the Aesir used weapons, the Vanir used a powerful, unpredictable magic called Seidr. For eons, they existed separately, until one day their worlds collided, sparking the very first war in human or divine history, the Aesir-Vanir War. The catalyst for the war is one of the most confusing and debated parts of the Eddas. It started when a mysterious Vanir woman arrived in the great halls of Asgard. Her name was Gullveig, which roughly translates to gold draft or gold power. She was undeniably powerful, a master of that Vanir magic, Seidr. She could foresee fate and manipulate minds. The Aesir, obsessed with order and control, were deeply threatened by her. Some interpretations say she corrupted them with greed for gold. Others say they simply feared her uncontrollable magic. Whatever the reason, the Aesir reacted with brutal violence. They decided she had to die. They seized Gullveig and threw her onto a burning pyre in the center of their hall. They burned her to ash. But to their horror, she stepped out of the ashes, reborn and whole. They burned her a second time. Again, she was reborn. They burned her a third time, and a third time, she lived. She was indomitable. The Vanir, hearing how their kin had been tortured by Odin's people, were furious. They demanded reparations. The Aesir, proud and arrogant, refused. War was declared. Odin, ever the aggressor, threw his spear over the Vanir host, a traditional Norse way of dedicating an enemy army to death before a battle. The fighting was catastrophic. It was a clash of ideologies. The disciplined martial prowess of the Aesir against the primal, ecological magic of the Vanir. The Aesir, accustomed to being the mightiest beings in creation, were shocked. They couldn't easily defeat the Vanir. In fact, the Vanir did the unthinkable. Using their magic, they breached the massive fortifications of Asgard. They brought the war right to Odin's doorstep. For the first time, the gods of order felt genuine chaos. The war dragged on, devastating the cosmos. Neither side could gain a decisive victory. The Aesir couldn't kill the resilient Vanir, and the Vanir couldn't outmuscle the Aesir permanently. Eventually, both sides realized the futility of the conflict. If they kept fighting, there would be no realms left to rule. They needed a truce. To seal the peace treaty, they performed an ancient ritual. All the gods spat into a single vat, mingling their essence as a sign of unity. We'll come back to that spit later. It's important. But the most significant part of the truce was a hostage exchange. To ensure neither side broke the peace, key figures from each tribe would go live with the other. The Vanir sent their very best to Asgard. They sent their leader, the wealthy sea god Njord, and his two children. These children would become superstardom in the Norse canon. The son was Freyr, the god of sunshine and good harvest. The daughter was Freya, the goddess of love, beauty, and war magic. These Vanir gods were adopted into the Aesir fold, creating the unified pantheon we recognize today. Freya, in particular, became the highest-ranking goddess in Asgard, second only to Frigg. In return, the Aesir sent 2 of their own to Vanaheim. They sent Honir, a large, handsome god who looked like a leader, and to assist him, they sent Mimir, the wisest of all the Aesir. The Aesir thought they had gotten the better deal, but the Vanir quickly realized they'd been tricked. In Vanaheim, Honir seemed like a great chieftain as long as Mimir was whispering advice in his ear. But the moment Mimir stepped away, Honir couldn't make a decision. He would just shrug and say, "Let others decide." The Vanir felt cheated. They realized Honir was useless without Mimir's wisdom. In a fit of rage over breaking the spirit of the truce, the Vanir seized Mimir. They cut off Mimir's head and sent it back to Odin. Rather than restarting the war, Odin took the head of the wisest being in the cosmos. He embalmed it with herbs and chanted runes over it, returning it to life. Mimir's head became one of Odin's greatest counselors, whispering secrets from the other worlds. Thanks so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video.